On today's episode, I'm going to introduce Michael to the song These Days. We're going to listen to 3 versions of it, and we're going to talk a little bit about a famous movie that brought it back to life. Welcome to episode 32 of I Got a Song. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for I Got a Song. This is episode 32, episodio 32. And I have with me today, Michael Long. Hi, Michael. Hi.
Hi, Clay. Hi.
Ooh, man, I'm still jacked about episode 31 that we just did. Wow. That one was fire. Oh, boy. Guys, go back to 31. I don't know if y'all listen in order or not, but gosh, I mean, that one is it's not a long episode, but it's like a just a short, it's a punch, man. That's a good one.
It was a nice, short, concise hit to the gut. And
some of our episodes are starting to go a little bit longer, and really I feel like that one could have gone a little bit longer, but life was happening at Clay's house, and so I was trying to, and I hated to rush you on that. I felt bad.
It's fine, and I felt like I kind of said what I needed to say on it, and
okay, good.
Concise episodes like that, we threw what we needed to throw out there, and I really feel like the performance speaks for itself. So
absolutely,
there's not a whole lot could have been said. There's not a whole lot more that could have been said about that. So I feel good about it.
Cool. I hated I hated to text you and be like, oh man, I gotta go, and then I do all this rushing and everything. Like, oh no, never mind. We're good. We don't have to go. No. We don't have to take my daughter to jiu-jitsu. So not.
Hey,
so we're back. We're going to do another episode of I Got a Song,
right.
And I'm really, really happy that we're getting to do this. We usually try to do these in pairs. It doesn't always happen, due to life. We're busy dudes.
I'd say the vast majority of the times we've been able to record it in pairs, and I feel like I really like recording in pairs because it's like whoever presents first always does a bang up job, but then we kind of take the momentum and roll it into this second episode, and we always get good results out of both, and
it's fun to do both. It's fun to switch hats every episode. I love getting to like when we did yesterday's. Okay, when we did episode 31 30 minutes ago. I got to just sit back and open my Christmas gift, and see what Michael had for me. So anyway, all right, I'm going to get some of our admin stuff out of the way because we've got a packed episode today. Michael, you're in for a treat. This is a song, the listener already knows what it is, but I've been thinking about this song and had this song on my list for a long time, and it just recently kind of resurfaced, and I put the little fire emoji next to it in my list. That way I know that it's time to finally do this one. And this has had the fire emoji. It's had the little logo, the little fire icon on it for a few weeks now, and I've wanted to do it, but these other ones have just been grabbing me. So anyway, you know what, folks, we really do appreciate you joining us today. Like I said, This is episode 32. We've only been doing this for 6 or 7 months, I guess. But
not even that, really, because, what is this? This is March.
We're in April.
March. Oh, we are in April. This is April 1st.
Right?
Okay, so maybe it is 6 months because we really kind of episode 0, which was kind of our testing platform, was back in October, maybe.
That sounds about right because we recorded about 10 episodes before we finally started releasing them because we couldn't release any of them until we had a name.
Right.
And we didn't have a name until episode 10, I think.
Correct.
When we finally had our name, and then we started, kicking out episodes.
Oh yeah, and we kind of leaned into it after that. We knew what we had and we knew what we wanted to do, but the name really kind of gave it. Once we had a name for it,
it was so hard.
It kind of. I don't want to say maybe it's cliche to say it took a life of its own, but it's we gave it the name, and then it's we were off to the races. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's it was like trying to name a band. Like if you've ever been in a band, you're like, man, I don't want to do this dumb band name. I don't want to get this wrong, because once it's there, it's there,
Yeah, you want everybody to be on board. You want everybody to sign off on it. everybody to be happy with the direction you're going. And once
has anyone ever said that it should be "I've got a song" like I apostrophe VE? Has anyone ever said that?
I have not. No, have you?
No.
Okay.
I think it was in my head. I think somebody might have said "I got a song" is not grammatically, but it is because
I don't care.
Because when I look and I see that Michael sent me a song, I'm like, hey, look, I got a song.
Exactly. And
when I think like, oh, I know what episode I'm going to do. You know why? Because I got a song. Yeah,
and
I got it.
I feel like the majority of people would be on board with of course, if you dissect it, it's going to be like, oh, I've got a song, whatever. But but it's like,
people
what,
don't
man?
care.
You're driving in your car, you're riding around, and you're with your buddies, and it's like, you know what, man, I got a song. Here we go, and it works. It's magic, and it's lovely, and
I'll tell you what was really thrilling on episode 30, whenever we were talking to Coco, and we said, all right, man, well, I guess it's your turn. You got a song for us? And he goes, I got a song, baby.
I got a song, baby.
Previously on, I got a song.
I believe you brought a song today. Is that right?
I got a song, baby.
Nice. Yeah. And did he ever?
That was so joyful. That made me so happy. That made me so happy.
He leaned into it, man, and it's been a wild ride so far, and appreciate.
And we're just in our infancy. We're still learning stuff,
we really
So
we really are. And,
I'd like to think we've made some improvements since episode 001 to now.
I agree.
Yeah. So if you want to interact with us, we'd love to hear from you. You can find us on Instagram at I Got a Song Podcast, and then you can also
find us on X, formerly known as Twitter, at I Got a Song Pod.
Yep, Michael is heading up the Twitter or X aspect of the social media, and I've got the Instagram for the most part. And then we've also got that Google voicemail that no one's called. Michael, do you remember that number by chance?
Oh gosh, you would ask me, wouldn't you? What are the first three digits? I know the last
323.
323903 song.
You got it.
We'd
love to hear from y'all.
Song. We would love to hear from you.
And we'll put your voice on this show if you say something nice. Hey, you know what? Yeah. We might do that.
Yeah. Not to discourage any.
We don't answer that. We don't answer nothing. If you call we're not going to answer. It just goes straight to voicemail.
It's purely a voicemail, and I believe I guess the notification for that would come to you, Clay, and then you'd hear it and be like, "Hey, man, we got a voicemail. Check it out."
Yeah, and I'd send it over to Mikey. He's like, "Hey, listen, this guy over here. He called us some ugly words, but he called us, so." No. Anyway,
you can also, of course, find us on all the major, just about all the major podcast platforms now. So, Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, Amazon, and iHeartRadio.
And now we're also on Google Podcasts.
Yeah, that's right. So now we're on five.
Yeah, you could find us just about anywhere
now. Yes, absolutely.
Not that you would want to, but if you did,
You know what, man? Whoever and
we're glad you did.
Whoever and however, please listen in. Let us know what you think, and we welcome any and all feedback.
Having said all that, Michael, guess what? I got a song.
I was going to say, can I proffer? I got a song.
I certainly do, my friend. Yo tengo un canción.
Oh.
So we've talked a little bit about movie soundtracks and how they affect the way we perceive or think about a song, or sometimes they bring new songs to light that we didn't know about, or they're put into different contexts or something like that. Tell me about a song that you heard for the first time on a soundtrack that kind of stands out to you. And it could be an instrumental, or it could be a typical, song you might hear on the radio, something like that.
The first one that comes to mind, and I've got a lot, but you know this, and it references back to a very recent episode, Crazy Love by Van Morrison. Okay, and let me tell you why. There is a not, and I didn't mention this in the episode for Crazy Love, and I really kind of kicking myself for not mentioning this. But
wait, there's a soundtrack reference for Crazy Love that we did not mention.
There is.
Okay,
absolutely.
Okay, I'm excited.
There is a not very well known Steven Spielberg movie from I want to say 1990. Okay, it's called Always. It stars Richard Dreyfuss and John Goodman, and
kind of rings a bell.
It's about these. They're both pilots who are like firefighting pilots. So they dump they're like forest firefighting pilots, and they dump all the crap on forest fires to put them out.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Richard Dreyfuss, John Goodman, Holly Hunter, directed by Steven Spielberg.
Wow.
It's a really good movie, but not many people know about it. And it's kind of swept under the rug as far as Spielberg's content is concerned. But the song "Crazy Love" features in that movie. And,
how did we not talk about that?
I really don't know how or why I glossed over that. I did not mention it at all. But yeah, there it is. Yeah. So that's
why we were able to reference that. So Crazy Love showed up in that movie.
Yeah.
Was that the first time you'd heard that song?
Not the first time, but it was the first time that it really kind of grabbed me because it's used in a pretty pivotal scene in the movie.
Right.
And without really spoiling the movie, it's a great movie for anyone who wants to see, obscure Spielberg. But Audrey Hepburn is in that movie as well. It's actually her final acting performance before she passed.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, so check that movie out, and the song "Crazy Love" is in that movie, and that's what really adhered the song to me, if that makes any sense.
Now, is there like a scene in it or something that?
Yeah, so
I don't think you have to worry about spoiling a movie from 1990 called Always.
Okay, yeah.
About some fighter pilots.
Richard Dreyfuss. Towards the beginning of the movie, Richard Dreyfuss, he's one of the pilots. He dies saving his friend John Goodman.
Okay.
And he is used as a spirit to guide another pilot who eventually moves in on his once girlfriend when he was alive. Who was Holly Hunter. Holly Hunter was his girlfriend before he passed. He died in this horrible plane.
This sounds kind of familiar. Was it on
crash.
Disney?
I mean, it could be. I don't know.
Okay. I thought it was like a Disney.
Richard Dreyfuss dies in this trying to save his friend John Goodman. Audrey Hepburn is like an angel who kind of tasks him with from the afterlife guiding this other pilot to become a firefighting pilot himself. But this new guy starts kind of moving in on his girlfriend, and he struggles with that. And there's a moment where she is dancing in a room by herself to the song "Crazy Love," and as a spirit, he's dancing with her, and it's a really kind of touching moment.
Okay,
but you know, whatever. But
that sounds appropriate for the song.
Yeah. And I don't think that was my first exposure to the song, but it was my first grand experience with the song, and I love that movie. It's not one of Spielberg's revered movies, but I love it.
Awesome. Interesting.
Anyway, that's a long explanation for your question. I'm sorry.
It's cool, man. I'm about to send you this song, and there's a couple different ways I could send it. I could send it to you as the soundtrack version, but that would instantly. What I want to do is I'm going to send you the song from the original album and see if you recognize it and see if you can tell me what movie it's from.
Oh, I would love this. Thank you.
Okay.
I accept your challenge. Please do.
Okay. Is that making sense what I'm doing here?
Absolutely. Yes.
All right, well, I'm about to send this your way. If you haven't joined us before, people, what we do is I'm going to send Michael a link to a song. He does not know what song is coming to him. I've done a little bit of research about this song. This song has moved me and has made the cut to make the show. And, Mikey, when you see it, say the name and artist and see if you see what you got.
I've got it. What is this? I see. Let me click on the link here because I'm not. These Days by Nico.
Right.
So the album cover.
Now, don't
is
start
like,
playing it yet because if you as soon as you play it, I think you'll recognize it. I think.
No, I haven't started playing it, but I'm looking at it on Spotify, and I see the album cover is like a blonde-headed woman, kind of looking morose.
Yes. Okay. All right. So you're not familiar with this song?
Not by the title, no.
Okay. Fantastic. This is great. I love it when this happens. Okay.
Okay. All right.
Now, I believe that once the song kicks in, I think it'll take you to the movie that we're going to talk about. I think.
I hope.
It's okay if it doesn't. I'm
afraid I'm going to disappoint you, but
no, I'm never disappointed on the show. I promise. It's always fun. Okay. So, all right. So what we're going to do now, we recommend, ladies and gentlemen, that you go listen to These Days by Nico. And we're going to go do the same, and we will be right back to talk about it. Sound good?
All right. Sounds good. Let's do it.
All right. We'll be right back.
I sit on cornerstones and count the time in quarter tones to 10. Please don't confront me with my failures. I had not forgotten them.
From the 1967 album Chelsea Girl, that was Nico with These Days. Now, Michael, you had not heard that song before, I discovered.
I have not.
So really you don't know the movie?
I might know the movie, but the song related to the movie, I'm at a loss.
Now we're going to play two more versions.
Oh, wow, okay.
In their entirety. It's going to be a long episode.
Oh my, okay.
But we have the time, I believe, and they're important.
All right.
Now, we're not going to play the whole song, of course, but here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to send you the next version. Okay. Now, I'm going to send you the version that was released a few years later by the person.
Years, so like a handful of years?
1973.
Oh, okay, so yeah, just about 6 years.
Now, on this recording that Nico did, the person playing the guitar is the person who wrote the song.
Oh, okay.
And Nico just sang it.
Interesting.
And then in 1973, two iconic artists, one of which wrote it, finally recorded it himself after Nico. Okay? Yeah. I just realized this. I did not realize that Nico's version came first. So I'm going to send you the version by the original artist.
Okay.
Who did it later. Am I making sense?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to send you the link.
Okay.
Real quick. All right. Now, whenever you see that, see who this is.
Oh, Jackson Browne. Okay.
That's right.
Yeah. All right.
Jackson Browne originally wrote These Days when he was 16 years old, Mike.
What?
Yep.
Oh my. Okay.
And then he shopped it around and he got Nico to sing it. And Nico sang for the Velvet Underground.
Here she comes. You better watch your step. She's gone to break your heart in two. It's true. It's not hard to realize. Just look into
Whoa. Okay. Yeah.
Yes, she was also and she separated from Velvet Underground and wanted to do her own solo thing, which is what this album is. And it wasn't terribly successful, but this song was kicked around, and a bunch of people did it before the original artist got a chance to do it, and he finally did it in '73.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. So what we're going to do is we're going to break, and we're going to listen to that song, and then we're going to continue. Sound
All
good?
right. Sounds good.
Awesome.
Yes.
Well, I've been out walking. I don't do that much talking these days. These days. These days I seem to think a lot about the things that I forgot to do for you. And all the times I had the chance to. And I had a lover, but it's so hard to risk another these days. These days. Well, I'll keep on moving, moving on. Things are bound to be improving these days. One of these days. These days I'll sit on cornerstones and count the time in quarter tones to 10. My friend, don't confront me with my failures. I had not forgotten them.
From the 1972 album For Every Man by Jackson Browne, that was These Days.
These days.
Okay. Now, previously we heard the version by Nico.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about she sang it, he wrote it, but he didn't do his own version until this one in 1973 or
Correct.
2.
Correct.
Your thoughts, sir?
So I really like both versions, and
73, I'm sorry. Spotify has it wrong. It's 73.
We talked about it while we were listening to the song, and neither recording sounds like a product of its time. So like Nico's version was recorded in 67, you said?
Yes.
That does not sound like a song recorded in 67.
Yeah, you said this sounds modern. Like this could have been released a couple weeks ago.
Yes, absolutely. I feel like if I had known nothing about that song, there's no way I could have guessed that would be a 50-year-old song.
Yeah.
And then
now you notice okay, go ahead, continue. I'm sorry.
Well, and then we played the Jackson Browne version, and I will give my personal preference is to lean towards the Jackson Browne version. It's more of a I don't know how to describe it. Why I kind of lean that way, but it's, man, I don't really know. It's hard to explain, but I kind of prefer the Jackson Browne version over the Nico version myself, but they're both really good, and they're both like, neither one sounds like the era that it comes from. So like I said,
love that.
Yeah. Nico's doesn't sound like 67, and Jackson Browne's doesn't sound like 73. But like, I kind of feel that way with Jackson Browne in general, where he doesn't sound like a 70s and 80s guy that I kind of know him to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I know this is a full episode, but I got one more version.
Okay.
And the reason why this version is important is because Jackson Browne heard this artist's interpretation of his song, and that influenced the way he wanted to do his song instead of the Nico way.
Interesting. Okay.
And this artist, I'm going to send it to you right now, and just take a look. These two versions, this one from Jackson Browne and this other artist, were released within days of each other.
Interesting. Okay. So what have you got? These Days by Gregg Allman?
That's correct.
Interesting.
Gregg Allman knew the song, did his own version.
Okay.
And Jackson Browne liked his version, and then did it closer to the Gregg way instead of the Nico way.
Okay, so Gregg Allman's version came out first, but then a few days later, Jackson Browne dropped his version of his own song.
Yeah, more or less.
Very interesting. Okay.
Yeah. All right. So, and there's a lot of other versions of this. I mean, we're going to talk about it, but this one is very important to the story.
Okay.
So I think we should go ahead and launch into that, and we'll be right back.
Let's give it a listen.
I seem to think a lot about the things that I forgot to do for you, and all the times I had a chance to. These days I sit on cornerstones, count the time in quarter tones till 10. My friend, please don't confront me with my failure. I'm aware of them.
From the 1973 album Laid Back, that was Gregg Allman with These Days. Now we've heard all three. Michael, that was a trip, man. How you feeling?
That was a trip. I feel
it's a lot of music.
Dude. This is such a laid back vibe of a song. I mean,
had you ever heard any of these versions?
I haven't. I have not heard this. No.
Yeah.
I cannot.
Yes. I love it when this happens.
Each has a very distinct flavor to it, I guess. So like Nico's version is, I don't want to say psychedelic, but it's like just her delivery and her voice kind of lends itself towards the psychedelic realm. Does that make any sense?
I hadn't thought about that. I can see that though. Totally.
I don't know. It's more disjointed, for lack of a better way to put it. If I had to put one word on it, it's a little more disjointed than the other than the other versions. And so Jackson Browne, I've never deep dived Jackson Browne until like very recently, like in the last couple of weeks. And I started listening to a little bit of his stuff, and I really like.
You've been listening to Jackson Browne recently?
I have a little bit, yeah. And
that totally tracks. I mean, it makes sense that he would be right in your lane.
He's not like, obviously his voice isn't like that of Van Morrison or anything like that, but like they're
similar. I think they're a similar kind of vibe.
It's a similar vibe. I agree. And it's like this kind of acoustic singer-songwriter type of vibe, like Van Morrison, Crosby, Stills and Nash, that sort of thing. And kind of a just acoustic guitar singer-songwriter.
There's that southern rock. There's
absolutely
Southern California rock kind of thing.
And then you roll into the Allman, Gregg Allman's version, and I instantly hear like an Allman Brothers kind of wash over the thing. Like there's the harmonies, and there's kind of more of the steel guitar thing, and there's more of a southern rock bend to it. Although it's not rock, but it's like.
I'm glad you mentioned the pedal steel. We noticed that. We like the pedal steel, don't we?
Oh, absolutely. And
now I'm pretty sure, from what I could tell, now there's no pedal steel on the Nico version, but from what the research that I've been able to determine, the same player is playing the pedal steel on the Gregg Allman version and the Jackson Browne version.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah. His name is Scott Boyer.
Okay, cool.
Yes. And he unfortunately passed away in 2018, but he did. I don't know a whole lot about his career. I know that he played pedal steel on this one, for sure. And man, it's so beautiful. We really love that. So I before I change and segue into what movie, do you have any other thoughts before I?
No, like I said, I like all three versions, and if you put a gun to my head to make me pick out of the three versions, I still think I would go with Jackson Browne, to be honest. I like the fact that it's really not much more than just his voice and an acoustic guitar. And I mean, there's some other stuff going on, but like Gregg Allman's version is really good. I like his voice. I like the harmonies, but I really like this.
Gregg's and Jackson's are closer,
Yeah, they're closer to in tone to each other. I don't dislike Nico's version, but at all. But Nico's vocal is that like her name is Nico?
Nico,
is that the artist? Okay. Her vocal is a little more. God, how can I put it? Dang it. It's not as tight, I guess, as Jackson Browne's.
It's a much more somber tone.
Yes, yeah. That's a good way to put it, yeah.
Okay. I'm going to show you something here. This is the movie that it came from here. If you can look at your screen here.
Yeah, the Royal Tenenbaums.
That's right. You haven't seen this movie.
Oh, yes, I have. I have seen it.
You weren't paying attention.
Well, I appreciate that. But, God. No,
I'm sorry.
You're right. I was not paying attention. I've only seen it maybe once, and I was like,
I want to show you something.
You know what? This movie, I don't get it. Goodbye.
All right. Clearly, you don't have much of a connection with this movie, and that is okay. I saw this movie in the theater no less than 5 times.
Oh, goodness. Well, you're
and the reason I can tell you that is because if you're looking at the CD case, I have 5 ticket stubs in the back of the jewel case of the soundtrack.
No way.
Yeah.
Now that is really
and they're
cool,
they're within short time frames of each other too. So the first one I saw on January 29th, 2002.
Okay.
At 10:05 p.m. And I liked it so much that I went and saw it again the next day on Saturday at the same time at 10:05. And I liked it so much that I went and saw it again a week later on Saturday night. And then I went and saw it again the following Tuesday. and the following Saturday as well.
And what year is this?
This is 2002.
Where would you have seen it in?
This was the winter of 2002. I was in Denton.
Oh, okay.
Texas,
I was going to say you weren't,
as I've mentioned before.
You weren't back home, so this would have been the Denton years.
Yes.
Okay,
And,
so I have seen Royal Tenenbaums. I haven't. Okay.
Tell me what you remember.
I feel like I don't remember much. I know Gene Hackman's in it.
Oh my gosh, is he ever?
And Luke Wilson and give me a minute. Crap. I don't remember much else beyond that. I really need to give it another watch. But the thing is that you've always been a huge Wes Anderson fan.
I do love some Wes Anderson sometimes, man.
And I have not latched onto a single Wes Anderson movie.
Hey, that's cool. Yeah, it took me a while. Like, my friends were watching Rushmore, and I was like, "This sucks. I don't care about it." And now I love it.
Here's the thing: I've seen Bottle Rocket, I've seen Rushmore, I've seen Royal Tenenbaums, I've seen Life Aquatic by Steve Zissou.
Yeah,
I think that's it. And
they just don't do much for you.
No, not at all.
That's okay. Yeah.
Having said that, I do want to go back and watch Royal Tenenbaums because I feel like more than the other ones, you've kind of. What would you say your favorite Wes Anderson movie is?
It's probably The Life Aquatic.
Okay, I didn't like Life Aquatic at all.
It's that one or this one. I started rewatching this one,
for it, but
I started rewatching this one.
That was also like 20 plus years ago. So
oh yeah.
I need to.
Yeah, in the winter of 2020, in the winter of 2002, Clay was going to see the Royal Tenenbaums quite a bit, and I went by myself at least the last 2 or 3 of those times. And I remember it snowing one time when I came out of the theater. It started snowing when it came out.
I remember
such a beautiful life moment.
I can imagine.
Random.
See, I can remember watching The Life Aquatic with you. Like you had me sit down and watch it with you.
Oh no!
And at the end, towards the end, like I guess they're chasing some like deep sea monster or something.
Yeah, the jaguar shark.
Okay, and they finally find it. They finally find it at the end.
Dude.
They finally find this thing at the end, and
yeah.
Bill Murray is in this movie, and he's like, he's like, "I hope he remembers me," and then he breaks down and starts crying, and you're like having this emotional moment with the movie. And you're like, "Dude, this is so beautiful." I'm over here like,
it is so good.
I'm over here like, what the hell?
It's like Clay has lost his mind. What is going on?
I don't get it, and I'm just like, dude, what?
I can't explain it, man. It's corny, but I don't know, man. It's hard to explain.
It didn't reach me. But
I know I'm not the only one that has those moments with some Wes Anderson movies. But this one is at the very least you need to watch the scene that this movie is prominently featured in, and it's Gwyneth Paltrow.
That's who I was thinking.
She's stepping off the Green Line bus to see her brother Richie.
Yeah.
And man, I had to watch it yesterday because I wanted to. I have the Criterion edition, so I've it's older, but it's got a Wes Anderson commentary on it, and I wanted to hear his thoughts on this scene. And he said that he had the scene kind of picked out and the song picked out that he wanted to do. He had that all kind of picked out, but he had no idea how beautiful and perfect the song was going to go with the expression on her face as she walks out and she sees her brother and she steps off, and just the whole thing slows down, and like they're in like a noisy like bus station / harbor, and it's noisy and you hear all this stuff, but when she steps off the bus everything drops down and there's like a half-second pause of like silence, and then the opening notes to this Nico version. Boom doodle 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 doom bing. it's the most. I teared up, and I was like, God, this still does it to me for some reason. And this was just like watching the commentary one, and I was like, okay, let me dry my eyes. I'm going to turn it over. I'm going to stop it, turn off the commentary, watch it the way it was supposed to do, and I teared up again. I'm not kidding. Like, it was like just a couple minutes later, I stepped out and grabbed a drink of water, and I came back into the rock room and I watched it again, and I teared up again.
Wow.
It's so beautiful, and it's so perfect, and the way the notes, it's just the most, I don't know, man. It's
Well, I got to check this out because
yeah, you know what, it's probably going to be another one of those things you're going to watch and be like, okay, that's nice.
Maybe not, because I feel like, and I had this thought not too long ago that I think it was maybe you and Christopher talking about the Royal Tenenbaums, and I was like, I really need to give that movie another shot, because there's been so many movies that I've watched where the first time and even the second time I watched them, I didn't get it. And I'll give you two examples that are like perfect in this regard: Spinal Tap and Big Lebowski. I did not get either one the first two times I watched them, and now they're two of my they're top 5 movies for me. They are amazing movies.
Yeah.
And
I'm the same way with those two.
But I had to really not force myself, but like, it's like, I need to give them one last chance to grab me. And the third time for both of those movies was the time I needed to let them in, and now they're my favorites. And
yeah,
I need to do
There's
that
so
with
many
Royal
performances. There's so many fantastic performances. I was thinking today, I was like, I've never seen Gene Hackman do anything like this.
Hold it, Chazzy. Hold it right there.
What are you doing? You're on my team.
There are no teams.
Ah!
The BB was still lodged between two knuckles in Chaz's left hand. Margot Tenenbaum was adopted at age 2. Her father had always noted this when introducing her.
This is my adopted daughter, Margot Tenenbaum.
Up to or after. It's the most interesting and bizarre and like sad character, but also tragic and funny, and like it. Man, it's really interesting. He's just great, and then Angelica Houston is phenomenal. Everybody in it is really fantastic, and Bill Murray's in it. He's great always, and I love it. But this is where this movie is where I first heard that song, and and I thought it was a modern song. Like, I thought, this is like newish, and like, this is so cool. And then I played it for my mom. I'm going to talk about my mom a little bit on this one, because I heard the song and I got the soundtrack, I guess, and I loved it so much, and it was so pretty, and there weren't any like loud screaming voices or vocals or guitars or anything, so I knew Mom would appreciate it and like it, and possibly enjoy it. And she goes, I know this song, this is a Jackson Browne song. And I was like, okay, I didn't know that. And then she like explained it to me. This was a long time ago, and she goes, and I think it's all, and it was also on a Gregg Allman album, and which I own on vinyl. I have the Laid Back album, and I listened to it last night to listen to that track. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I have Laid Back on vinyl.
That's amazing.
It's, of course, it's fantastic, and it was my mom's. And so I texted her and I said, Mom, I want to talk about these days. Do you want to come on the show and talk about it? She said, no way. No, she's like, no, thank you. I don't really want my voice recorded. It was just a text. I wanted to invite my mom, but she politely declined.
Your mom has such good taste in 60s and 70s music. She is I mean, your mom's already a treasure as it is, but it's like she's a Van Morrison fan, so I mean, she's already there in my book. But
yeah, y'all always have plenty to talk about whenever you. But
just her experience with music in the 60s and 70s is just timeless, and it's she knows, she has such a good like knowledge of that music from back then, and it's always fun to talk to your mom about music from back then. Yeah,
because she was listening to music in that area, just like when we were in in the 90s listening to to all that stuff.
Oh yeah,
But she told me that right around the time that this came out, that she was living in like the Nashville, Tennessee area, and Dad was working at a record store that was being owned and operated by my uncle, and it ended up tanking, and unfortunately, and they had to come back to Texas. But this was an album that Dad, I believe that Dad picked up, and the song. Mom just remembers those times, and this song, and some of the lyrics that stand out. I'm going to bring them up real quick.
Please do.
Some of them that we like that she mentioned, I believe, were, well, I'll keep on moving on. Things are bound to keep improving these days, one of these days. These days I'll sit on cornerstones and count the time in quarter tones to 10, my friend. Don't confront me with my failures. I had not forgotten them. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't confront me with my failures. I had not forgotten them. And the Gregg Allman one, he says, please don't confront me with my failures. I'm aware of them. Yeah, anyway, it's a little bit difference.
Yeah. What was the first one again? What was the first lyric? Please don't confront me with my failures.
Yeah, don't confront me with my failures. I had not forgotten them.
I feel like that cuts a little deeper. It's like, it's more personal when you say, I have not forgotten them, as opposed to I'm aware of them. I like that lyric a lot better.
Yeah, I mentioned that to Mom, and I said, I wonder if there was a reason why those are different. And Mom said he was probably drunk.
Yeah.
She was just kidding, but that's actually very possible. He struggled with alcoholism for quite a bit for a lot of his life.
That's probably accurate.
So that song, man, it's so pretty, and Nico's voice, her version is a lot more somber, and it fits so perfectly into that movie scene. And I watched that movie scene really, like, probably between today and yesterday a total of 3 or 4 times, and I teared up each time.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, it's just so perfect. I don't know, there's just something about it. When the right song and the right scene just all adds up. Well, Wes Anderson said, he goes, I knew I wanted this song in this scene, but I had no idea just the look on her face when that was going to come up. And
me being the soundtrack nerd that I am, the perfect song can just make or break a scene, and if you can have, and I think we said this on a previous episode too, where it was like a scene can be perfectly written, perfectly acted, and then the director puts a song on there that just unravels the scene to the degree where it's like, ugh. It's like,
yeah, it's the final thing. It's the thing that brings it all together, huh? It's the secret sauce.
And the opposite can happen where you got like a mediocre writing or a mediocre scene, but you throw a song behind it and it elevates it, and then of course, you got the perfect storm where, like this scene that you're talking about, where you've got a beautiful song, a beautiful moment in the film, the acting is perfect, the writing is perfect, and it's just, and it all comes together. And that's part of the reason why I'm just such a huge soundtrack fan. And I'm trying to think.
I want to bring attention to whenever you watch this scene. And look, I don't know anything about movies. You know more about movies than I do, I couldn't tell you many more Gwyneth Paltrow scenes, because this is the only one I think about when I hear her name. And she is known as having a beautiful smile. Yeah, and in this movie, she doesn't smile. Like at all.
Really?
If you watch her mouth in this scene, there's something about it. Like there's just the corners of her mouth have just the slightest little smile when she sees her brother.
Okay.
And she smiles a little bit when she's talking to him for the first time. And there's this line that she says when she sees him. It's the first time that they've seen each other in, I think, 17 years or something like that. But she says, "Stand up straight and let me get a look at you." And I fall apart.
Yeah.
And so Luke Wilson just kind of, he's standing there with his arms crossed, and he's got like these tinted glasses, and his head, he's got a Fila headband, and he's got this beard, and he just kind of straightens up a little bit, and it kills me every time.
Okay, I'm really intrigued now. I need to go back.
I'm really overworking it.
I really just need to go back and watch.
I'm afraid it's going to be one of those things you're going to be like, yeah, I watched it, but...
Well, I mean, that very well may be, but at the same time, it's like, I can appreciate it better than I can appreciate stuff in a movie now that I couldn't really 20 years ago, you know, and really probably has been about the length of time that it's been since I've seen that. I watched it the one time. Probably at that apartment. Probably that apartment that I lived in, and I'm sure you were like, "Dude, we need to watch Royal Tenenbaums," and I was like, "Really?" And but I need to give it another.
We watched a lot of movies together.
Yeah, we did.
Oh, what a joy!
But I need to give it another shot and see if it sinks in. But
I hope you like it.
That's what I love about music in movies, and that goes for film score as well as like soundtrack. Is like, you know, I think of like The Departed, where you know, kind of that opening scene where you've got "Give Me Shelter" in the background,
right?
And they're kind of setting the stage for, you know, whatever, you know, like 70s era Boston with Jack Nicholson kind of starting out, and you know,
yes,
all
Costello.
that. Yeah. Frank Costello's, you know, kind of. You know, he's already a kingpin, but it's like,
I think all the best, you know, directors and writers and movie people, you know, when you think of their best work, they've got great music in it. To me,
well, yeah, and you know, and
Star Wars would not be as good as it was without that John Williams score.
Absolutely, or that you know,
Jaws.
I circle back to that movie Always that I was telling you about, that Spielberg movie, that unknown Spielberg movie with the song Crazy Love. That, like, that scene spoke to me where they're listening to this song, and Holly Hunter is alone in her house listening to the song Crazy Love, and Richard Dreyfuss is dancing with her, but he's like a ghost. And so it's a really beautiful scene that wouldn't be as poignant without the music, you know, without that song. Yeah. That song really ties it in. And
I mean, this is not news to people, in the context of the movie, the right song, it just takes the movie to the next level. And I think it can probably do it in ways that were unexpected, you know. But I think, you know, Wes Anderson had this song picked out, and I mean,
and see, and that kind of begs the question. I don't want to get too deep into this, but like, would the scene have been filmed with the song in mind, or would the song have been picked and then a scene filmed around it?
I think the song was already picked for the scene.
Okay.
If
and both ways can be, you know,
I think
magic.
that's safe to.
But
yeah, having watched the commentary, I'm pretty confident that he said that he said that he had the song in the scene, but just had no idea how awesome.
Oh man,
Gwyneth Paltrow was going to be when she stepped off.
That's just that's too cool. That's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to watch the rest of it because I haven't watched it in a long time. And whenever I put it in, because I have it on DVD, and I knew I had that commentary track. I wanted to go through it as part of my research for this show, just to see if, you know, there could be any extra little nuggets that Google might not have come up with. But
right.
Anyway, yeah, I was like, I'm wondering if this is going to hold up, and man, it really did. It holds up, and you know, I mean, the movie. There's some really sad parts, and there's some dark parts, and it's pretty dark comedy, you know, really. But I I recommend you go check it out, Mikey.
Oh yeah.
Give it another shot.
I need to give
at the
it
very
one more
least,
shot.
this
I could watch it again and very well be like, nah, I still don't get it. But kind of like OK Computer. But but you know what? It could be that one extra time that I need for it to land, you know. And so I'm gonna make that a homework assignment. I'm gonna go back and rewatch homework the Royal Tenenbaums.
And despite and even if you don't like the movie, whatever, it's still a great song. And
it really is. And thank you for sharing that, because I mean, and thank you for the 3 versions, because I really like hearing different interpretations of the same song, and it kind of allows me to land on one, you know. And if I were to land on one like right now, I'd probably lean towards the Jackson Browne version myself, but because
the
really
Nico
like
one's always going to be my favorite, because it was the first one. And once I found out that it was a Jackson Browne song, I thought that in normal order it would be Jackson Browne wrote it and recorded it first.
Right.
But it was out of order. I mean, he wrote it and played guitar on it on the Nico one, but then did his own. But anyway, because he heard the Gregg Allman version. But I just love that's amazing that song was released on those 2 dudes' album within a few days of each other.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, that's really cool. Actually.
Yeah, that's amazing. I can't imagine that happening. Not that I know what's going on in the modern, I'm not in the business at all. I don't know what's going on in the modern music days.
Right.
I just listen to music I like and make a little podcast about it.
But yeah, I get what you're saying, and I agree. Where it's like, there was a lot more, is song sharing the right way to put it? Where it was like, there were so many people writing songs for so many other artists.
Yeah.
And, so many people producing other people's stuff, so many people had their hands in other established artists' work, and it was a collaborative effort. It wasn't like they were, there wasn't anything malicious about it or anything like that. It was just this, we're all trying to put good music out there. And I don't know, these days I feel like that's not a lost art, but it's like you don't see that as much. And if you do, it's like, I don't know, the collaborative stuff is like a corporate effort as opposed to a reverence type of effort,
Yeah, whenever artists are paying, and like I'm pretty sure that in the Gregg Allman album he thanks Jackson Browne.
Of course,
gives credit and thanks him.
Yeah. And just the fact that these guys Jackson Browne wrote it, sure, and Nico recorded, 6 years before he recorded it, but then Gregg Allman recorded it, and Jackson Browne was like, well, man, I really kind of want to go record it too, and they're both like they're complementary, so it's like they're complementary where they can live side by side without crowding the other one out, without overpowering the other one, without taking anything away from the other one, and the Nico track as well, where it's like they all kind of stand on their own merits.
Yeah. I don't know that I ever would have come across this song if it wouldn't have been for that movie. And there's a lot of songs like that on Wes Anderson soundtracks. Like I think the Royal Tenenbaums soundtrack is fantastic. The Rushmore soundtrack is great. Life Aquatic is a great soundtrack. He's really good at putting music with stuff.
I
just
love
like the
directors,
the Coens and
the
guys
Coen
like
brothers, Tarantino's
a master.
Wes Anderson. Yep. They all have a very good handle on music, and they know, like, they can pick a song and then build a scene around it, as opposed to building a scene and then like, well, what song works,
Yeah.
And they're masters at that. And there's other directors too, but those are the ones that come to mind. Because can you imagine Big Lebowski without without the Bob Dylan song at the beginning.
The Man in Me.
Yeah,
Can't imagine it.
Can't imagine it. It's
yeah, they're
perfect.
one and the same.
It's perfect.
And you're instantly in a smoky bowling alley with overweight bowlers and drinking beer. And
Exactly.
Yeah, and making sure your mother's not around when you use that language, young man.
Yep.
And then, so I want to mention, so with the release of this soundtrack, there was a new popularity with this song, and whenever it came around, he would play it in his live shows, Jackson Browne, for a while. But then he just kind of stopped playing it, and it fell to the wayside. But it regained popularity due to it being in this song. I mean, being in the movie. The song got regained some popularity, and there's a lot of covers of it that are really good. There's a Glenn Campbell one from 2007.
Oh,
that's really nice. It's from the album Meet Glenn Campbell, but I think it's a version that he did in 2007. Really nice. And then there's one from Michael. You know the band Everything But the Girl?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, on their 1994 deluxe edition of the album Amplified Heart, there's a version of oh man, I did not write down who is the man singing it, but the guy in Everything But the Girl is singing it, and it's really nice.
Everything But the Girl are an English musical duo consisting of lead singer, songwriter, composer Tracy Thorne and guitarist, keyboardist, songwriter, composer, producer and singer Ben Watt.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really nice. I'm not
interesting.
Yeah, if you want to, there's a whole bunch of them, but those are kind of the highlights for me when I was digging around.
Very, very cool.
On this song.
Yeah.
And also want to mention that this morning I was decided I would listen to a couple other of these versions. It's always fun to listen to these different ones because you never know what little nuggets you're gonna dig into. But there's a acoustic album of Jackson Browne. It's just him playing acoustic guitar, and he starts playing the chords to it, and the audience recognizes it, and he's just playing it, and he starts talking. He starts talking about the song and the history of it, and he said, I wrote this song when I was about 16, and a whole bunch of other people recorded it before I got around to it in 1973. And he said, he goes, it's interesting. I was sitting in a movie theater a few years ago, and this song came on, and I was like, hey, I used to play guitar that way. And then I realized, that's me. That's my song.
Really?
And then he realized, I forgot that I had signed off permission for them to use this song on this movie.
Oh, wow.
Just completely forgotten. He was sitting in the movie theater watching the Royal Tenenbaums, apparently.
That is
and
funny.
The song came on, and he was like, hey, I used to play guitar like this.
Wow. Well, that's really
it.
cool, man. That's really cool.
Man.
Hey, so if I had to put you to the screws, which version does it for you? Which version's tops
Nico.
for you? Nico? Okay. Yep. All right.
And then it's after that it's hard. I think the Jackson Browne one might be my second favorite, and then the Gregg Allman one. Let's do a poll, and we'll put it down below and see if we can get a vote. See if anyone will vote on what your favorite one is. But the Nico one is my favorite just because that's the first one I heard, and it was
it's perfect for that scene in the movie, right?
It resonated so deeply for some reason.
Man, that's really cool.
Yeah, I love that song so much. And I've been thinking about this one for a really long time and thinking, how am I going to do this show with 3 songs? And there's just no other way to do it except to do it. And so we did it.
I'd say we did it.
I would agree. I think we got it.
I think we got it. We got it,
Donaghy. Well, Clay, thank you for the share, man. Thank you for pulling all 3 of those out because we got it. I think we got it.
I know it was a little bit longer
song.
episode, I had to do all 3 of them because for one, they're just this song is just like it became more special when I realized that it was a Jackson Browne song and that my mom loved it.
Oh yeah.
And that, and that there was a story that she got to share with me, about it, and that we could talk about it. And she said that she had a memory of playing it for Coco as a baby.
Oh man, no way.
When he was like a year or two, whenever they came back to Texas from,
that's
from
what it's
Nashville.
all about, man.
And she also said there was a Seals and Croft record that she used to play also for him. That Summer Breeze.
Okay.
Summer breeze makes me feel something like that.
I know the song. Yeah.
Summer breeze makes me feel fine, blowing through the jasmine in my mind. Summer breeze makes me feel fine, blowing through the jasmine in my mind.
If I sing it, does that mean I have to clip it? I think I do.
I mean, you might as well.
So yeah, I was really happy to get to talk to my mom about those, and she listens to the show, and I hope she enjoys getting to hear it. And I hope I got the information right. Sometimes I walk away from shows and I'm like, I wonder if I got that right. Did I get that right? Yeah. So
I think
we're not
the majority of the
professionals,
time
exactly.
I think
we're
the
not
majority of the time
university material.
University material. Well, Clay, this has been a great episode. Again.
I agree. I love doing the show with you. I know I say that all the time, but it's so true, and it's just been the best part of my day. And I know you're tired and you're ready to go to bed. You're somewhere in, where you at? Paris?
No,
Africa?
Nigeria.
Okay. All right. So you were there and you're ready to go to bed, I imagine. But once again, ladies and gentlemen, if this song does anything for you, if it resonates with you, if any of these, if you have a memory of somebody that is associated with this song, I mean, we would encourage you to go, link that song, send it to your friend, and say, "Hey, man, I was thinking about you. Here's the song. It's a gift.
Absolutely,
it's a gift,
absolutely.
Man. Music is a gift."
You don't even have to do that. Like, you've listened to the song with us, but put it in your playlist, put it in your rotation, give it a few more spins, let it kind of wash over you. Give it some attention, and any of these songs that I'm definitely the type where I let a fresh song or a new song or even an old song that I've rediscovered. I latch onto it and I'll play it over and over and over again, and it kind of puts its, sinks its claws into me, and even if I'm not, sharing it with someone else, it resonates with me. It picks me up, or it puts me in the right mood, or it fits the moment, or however the song affects you, let it do its work. Let it.
I remember you said one time on the hammock episode, "Let music do some of the heavy lifting."
Let music do some of the heavy lifting. I agree, and that is something that's always.
I've carried that with me since you said that, and
man,
that's a good one, man. That'll preach.
Man. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yep. That'll carry you. That goes a long way. So.
Also, these songs that we're doing, once we make an episode on them, I don't know if you have this thought, but when we do these episodes and a song that we cover pops up in my regular, like in my DJX or something, it is extra special to me now because we did a show on it. Do you ever get that?
Oh yeah. And I'll think to the episode, what we've said, anything funny or poignant that we would have pulled up, and like. For example, anytime I think of that hammock song, "Love in the Void," I mean, I think of our episode and what was said, what was shared, the impact, the meaning, and all that.
Yeah, man, that is cool. It's special, and these episodes are a tribute to these artists. They
are, and It's a tribute to the artist, to the art.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yes, to the artist and the art, and just to say, this music has impacted us in such a way that, you know, we can't say enough good about it, you know, and we're certainly trying with the podcast, but
yeah, we're full of gratitude to the artists and to the listener. So
Clay, thank you,
Michael. That's about all I got on these days. So anyway, like we mentioned, guys, music is a gift. Share generously. Michael, thanks so much for joining us,
Absolutely.
and we will see you guys on the next one.
Next round. Hey, episode 33 is coming up with a little something special. So let's we'll get ready for that.
Yep, be on the lookout for episode 33. See you later.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Hey, we really appreciate you listening to the show. If you've enjoyed what you heard today, go ahead and check out the rest of our episodes and share them with your friends. Be sure to follow us and find us on Instagram at I Got a Song Podcast. You can find us on Twitter at I Got a Song Pod. And we would love to hear your voice, so leave us a Google voicemail at 323-903-SONG. Thanks a lot. We'll see you next time.
From the 1972... Okay, start over. Shut up. I'm trying to do...
I know. You would have cut all this. That's okay. All right, let me
no, I'm probably going to leave it in, actually. All right, from the 19th... Damn it.
Okay, all right. I'm done.